How cruel can truth become when fame and crime collide? In a shocking twist, famous actors have admitted to killing Vu Manh Long, and the chilling crime scene reenactment left everyone horrified. What really happened behind the glittering curtain of stardom? And why did this tragedy unfold so brutally? Stay with Red Carpet Revealed as we uncover the secrets, the lies, the untold story hidden in the shadows. How cruel can stardom truly be, when the very faces admired on screen confess to a crime that chills the blood? That is the dreadful question now haunting millions after the shocking confession of two famous actors who admitted to killing Vu Manh Long. But the horror did not stop at their words. In a move that stunned the nation, authorities staged a chilling reenactment of the crime scene, an event that left witnesses trembling and the public horrified. It was not just a performance for the record, it was a grotesque unveiling of cruelty hidden behind fame. And the fallout, like a wave of poison, has consumed the entertainment industry, the courts, and society itself. Vu Manh Long was not just another name in the entertainment industry. He was seen as a rising figure, a man destined for success in both the artistic and business realms of showbiz. His charisma, energy, and ambition placed him at the crossroads of opportunity and rivalry. To fans, he was beloved. To colleagues, he was respected, though whispers of jealousy and competition swirled around him. Yet, no one expected that his journey would be cut short so brutally. His death was first reported as a shocking tragedy, but few could imagine that his killers were not strangers from the shadows but shining stars adored by the masses. The betrayal in itself seemed more devastating than the crime. The courtroom drama began like any other high-profile case, with reporters flooding the halls, cameras pointed toward the accused, and the nation hungry for answers. But the atmosphere shifted when the two actors, faces once associated with glamour and admiration, bowed their heads and admitted their guilt. Gasps filled the chamber. The world, the live coverage, could not believe what they were hearing. For days, audiences replayed the confession, analyzing every tremble in their voices, every detail in their words. Questions multiplied. Why would stars with fame and wealth commit such a crime? What dark motive could drive them to extinguish the life of a man like Vu Manh Long? As their confessions unraveled, a disturbing narrative emerged. They described heated disputes with Long over money, projects, and hidden deals. They spoke of arguments escalating into threats, of pride wounded by betrayal, and of secrets that Long allegedly carried. But more than their words, what horrified the public was the reenactment staged soon after. To establish clarity for the court, investigators required the actors to physically reenact the crime. Cameras captured every moment as they retraced their steps at the scene, describing each motion, each cruel strike. The sight of actors once adored playing themselves as killers was almost too grotesque for the public to process. What should have been a sterile legal procedure turned into a chilling performance of horror. Reports from the reenactment described a silence so deep that every breath felt like thunder. Families of the victim collapsed in grief. Journalists who prided themselves on objectivity admitted to feeling sick watching the details play out. The actors, handcuffed and expressionless, moved through the crime scene as though retracing a nightmare. When the weapon was displayed, when the sequence of events was acted out, an audible wave of horror swept through the onlookers. Felt like we were watching a horror film, one reporter said. But the difference was, this was real. The public's response was immediate and explosive. Social media erupted with fury, disbelief, and heartbreak. Tags demanding justice trended globally, while others struggled to reconcile their admiration for the actors with a monstrous crime they admitted to. Fan clubs disbanded overnight. Severed contracts. Clips of the reenactment spread online like wildfire, turning the court's evidence procedure into viral horror content. Psychologists spoke on television about the trauma of seeing familiar, beloved faces associated with such cruelty. Children who idolized the actors wept, their innocence shattered by the realization that their heroes were murderers. As journalists dug deeper, the story grew darker still. Rumors suggested that Vu Manh Long had been holding on to damaging information about the entertainment industry. Secrets that might have exposed scandals and toppled reputations. Could this have been the true motive behind his killing? Or was it a crime born of rage and rivalry? As the actors claimed, the absence of clear answers only fueled speculation. And with every rumor, tragedy evolved into a saga larger than life, twining fame, betrayal, and death in a narrative the world could not stop consuming. Friends of the victim painted him as a man increasingly uneasy in his final months. He spoke cryptically about dangers he faced, betrayals he feared. He said someone powerful wanted him gone. One friend recalled. Thought he was exaggerating. Now, I don't know if we should have believed him. Recollections only deepened the sense that Long's death was not random but inevitable. The climax of tensions hidden beneath the glamorous surface of the entertainment world. Meanwhile, the actors' images shifted dramatically in public perception. Their past performances were re-examined. Interviews dissected for hidden clues. Old clips where they joked about dark roles or expressed frustration were reinterpreted as evidence of their violent potential. Documentaries began production within weeks, each promising to uncover the truth behind the shocking confessions. Tabloids ran headlines branding them idols turned monsters, yet in the chaos, a small faction of voices argued that perhaps they had confessed under pressure, that the reenactment was a grotesque manipulation to secure a narrative. In public opinion only made the case more gripping, more controversial, but nothing compared to the haunting images of the reenactment. Descriptions from witnesses spoke of the cold detachment in the actors' expressions as they retraced their steps, as if their stardom had already been stripped away, leaving only criminals in their place. For those who loved Vu Manh Long, the pain of watching was unbearable. His family cried out during the process, their grief magnified by the cruel theater of it all. To them, justice was not just about punishment, it was about acknowledging the enormity of the betrayal, the cruelty of being forced to relive the murder before their eyes. The ripple effect of the case spread far beyond the courtroom. Entertainment industry trembled under scrutiny. Producers, sponsors, and agencies scrambled to distance themselves from scandal, while whispers of other hidden crimes began surfacing. If these stars could kill, what else has been covered up in the industry? Commentators asked. The glamorous facade of showbiz cracked open, revealing a dark underbelly where ambition and rivalry could spiral into destruction. The story became less about two actors and more about an entire culture of secrecy, pressure, and silent cruelty. And as of this saga closes, the question lingers like a shadow across society: were these actors truly confessing to their own crimes? Or were they confessing for someone else? For forces too powerful to name? Was the reenactment a pursuit of truth, or a terrifying performance designed to horrify the public and bury deeper secrets? The world waits in suspense, horrified yet unable to look away. The cruelty has only just begun to be understood. The courtroom silence after the chilling reenactment was deceptive. Outside its walls, the storm only grew louder, swelling into a tempest of speculation, outrage, and fear. The horror of seeing two beloved actors admit to the killing of Vu Manh Long had already broken the trust between celebrities and their fans. But the reenactment, gruesome, visceral, forgettable, shattered something deeper. It left people asking whether justice was truly being sought, or if the entire process was just another layer of cruelty. A performance meant to horrify the public while hiding truths even darker than the crime itself. As part 2 begins, we must ask, what really lay behind the shocking confessions? Why would actors at the peak of their fame throw away everything for violence? Were they truly the masterminds? Or were they pawns in a far larger game? Weeks following the confessions, investigators revealed pieces of information that shifted the narrative yet again. Witnesses close to Vu Manh Long claimed he had been preparing to release evidence that implicated powerful figures in the industry. There were whispers of blackmail, of secret meetings, recordings that could topple careers and expose corruption at the highest levels. If Long indeed carried such evidence, his death was not simply an act of rage. It was an execution, a silencing. But if that were true, did the actors confess? Were they genuinely guilty? Had they been coerced into taking the blame? Psychologists and criminologists dissected the confessions endlessly. Some argued that the actors' words bore the weight of guilt, that their trembling voices revealed genuine remorse. Others insisted the confessions were staged, rehearsed like a script, delivered under pressure from unseen forces. The reenactment, they argued, was not just about reconstructing the crime, it was a spectacle carefully designed to terrify the public into accepting a single narrative. After all, who would question the story after watching such horror play out in front of cameras? The cruelty of the process was not just in forcing the family of Vu Manh Long to relive his death, but in forcing society to watch without questioning. While the industry itself entered a state of paralysis, contracts were frozen, premieres delayed, Sponsorships withdrawn. Fans abandon idols in droves. Terrified that behind the polished smiles of their favorite stars lay secrets as monstrous as those exposed in the trial. Agencies issued carefully worded statements distancing themselves from the scandal. Yet whispers of other cover-ups surfaced daily. There other crimes that had been buried? Other actors who had been shielded from scrutiny? The case of Vu Manh Long had become more than a murder trial, it had become a reckoning for an entire culture of entertainment built on power, silence, and exploitation. Journalists uncovered fragments of information suggesting the actors were not acting alone. Travel records hinted at clandestine meetings in luxury hotels. Financial documents revealed suspicious transfers tied to anonymous accounts. Anonymous insiders claimed the actors were manipulated by people who promised to protect their careers in exchange for their loyalty. They were pawns. One insider said. Stars on screen. Puppets behind the curtain. Such testimonies, though unverified, fueled the public's imagination and made the tragedy even more horrifying. If these actors were merely instruments, held the strings. The trial dragged on. Session. New horrors emerged. Audio recordings surfaced, allegedly of heated arguments between Long and the actors, with threats and desperation. Yet skeptics questioned their authenticity, pointing out irregularities that suggested tampering. Witnesses changed their stories under pressure, some vanishing altogether. Each inconsistency deepened the suspicion that the truth was being twisted, that the reenactment was not justice but theater designed to protect powerful figures still lurking in the shadows. The family of Vu Manh Long. Grief turned into rage. They demanded answers. Demanded justice beyond the confessions of two actors. To them, the crime was not just personal, it was systemic. Their son had been killed not merely by two individuals, but by an industry that allowed cruelty to flourish unchecked. Standing before the cameras, Long's parents spoke of betrayal, faith in the very system that promised to deliver justice. Their voices broke the hearts of millions watching the case into a human tragedy as much as a societal scandal. The public, too, grew restless. Demonstrations erupted, with fans and activists demanding deeper investigations into the entertainment world's power structures. Protesters held signs reading "Justice for Long. For all and no more lies behind the curtain." Social media campaigns exploded, pushing hashtags that trended for weeks. Yet for every voice demanding truth, there were forces working tirelessly to silence dissent. Accounts were mysteriously deleted, posts shadow banned, threatened into silence. The sense of an invisible hand manipulating the narrative only intensified. And still, the image of the reenactment haunted everyone. It became the defining symbol of the case. Two actors, once adored, now stripped of their glamour, walking mechanically through the steps of murder. Psychologists noted the profound psychological effect of this image. It shattered the illusion of celebrity, exposed how quickly admiration could turn to horror, forced society to confront the uncomfortable truth that the line between idol and monster is thinner than anyone wants to admit. As the trial neared its conclusion, the judge's gavel was expected to deliver finality. No verdict could erase the lingering questions. Were the actors truly guilty? Or had they confessed under duress? Were they victims themselves, caught in a system that demanded sacrifice? And most hauntingly, what became of the evidence Vu Manh Long allegedly held? Was it destroyed, hidden, or waiting in silence to resurface and reignite the fire? Cruelty of the case lay not only in the murder itself, but in the way it forced everyone, fans, families, society, to confront the darkness behind fame. Actors' confessions may have shocked the world, but the reenactment horrified it because it revealed something deeper, that cruelty is not just in the act of killing, but in the manipulation of truth, the performance of justice, and the exploitation of grief for spectacle. As the story concludes, one question remains, echoing louder than all the confessions and all the reenactments combined: was justice truly served? Or has the cruel truth been buried forever under the glittering ruins of an industry built on shadows? Red Carpet Revealed leaves you with this: the saga of Vu Manh Long is not merely a tragedy of crime and confession. It is a mirror, reflecting the darkest truths about fame and cruelty. The actors confessed, the reenactment horrified, but the truth, perhaps the cruelest of all, may still be waiting in silence, beyond reach.